Welcome back to the ASG Motorsports videos, guys. We want to go through this car today and just give you a bit of an explanation on the Haltech packages versus a standard ECU wire up like this car had. This is a new customer of ours, Kim's HZ Ute. You can see here it's got a nice, already built. We've done nothing with the engine package or the driveline with this car at all. It came in with a single turbo, sheet metal intake, LSX engine, you know, turbo 400 by Precise Automatics, and a few bits and pieces. The interesting part about this car is that it was running. It was attempted to be ran at the drags, just sort of didn't really make a great pass. I think it ran a low 10-second pass at 145 mile an hour. So the mile an hour's there and it was making pretty good power, but it lacked a few things. Now the important things to understand here is that if you're on a budget and all you can afford is a standard LS ECU out of a VX Commodore that's 15 years old, you need to be aware of the problems that you're going to find along the way. So a couple of the things that I wanted to go through today with you is why we put a Haltech on this car and why we've taken the standard ECU off. Because as you all know, I'm happy to tune all the stock ECUs on all LS generic vehicles right through to VF. We have no problem with them. We make plenty of power with the standard ECU, and it does have the functionality to make the car run nicely. But what you need to understand is, in the circumstances of this car, it doesn't have what it needs to make the car perform at its best at the track, and it also has a wiring harness in it, which I'll show you in a second, that's from 2002, 2003, and it's already starting to deteriorate and create problems and misfires and trigger errors and things like that come along with it. So I'll pop this harness up. I want you to have a look at it and we'll show you where we're at. So this is the stuff that we've taken out of the car. As you can see, it's a standard LS VX ECU, and these are the things that you're going to have to deal with and contend with, guys, when you do a stock ECU wire up. So here you have it, a 15-year-old wiring harness that's been modified 50 different ways by 10 different people to fit into a VX Commodore. Now from the VX Commodore, they've fitted it into this vehicle here, which is a HZ. So coil wiring's been modified and changed, trigger wires have been extended, all sorts of things. The problem we have with all of that stuff, mate, is that the age of this wiring harness just doesn't cut it. So we've removed all of this. So the wiring harness, a Turbo Smart eBoost boost controller, which we sell and are definitely an acceptable and functional boost controller for someone that wants basic formats, but we've removed it. $20 shift light, don't know how accurate that is, but we've removed it. All this stuff is good on a very budget build. If you want to make some power and you want to go fast at the track, that's where it belongs. So what we've done is we've installed a brand new Haltech ECU system, an Elite 2500, which we'll go around and show you guys in a minute. But I'll go through a few things with you why we've done it and what we've done. So we've completely replaced the wiring harness with a brand new wiring harness, all brand new connectors. Everything's heat shrunk and labelled for protection from heat, labelled so that when you, as the customer, go to pull your engine in and out of the car, you know where everything goes and what it does. The other thing that we've done is we've incorporated things that aren't in the standard harness. So those items are fuel pressure sensor, so we can log and actually set up safety methods and stuff inside the ECU for fuel pressure. We've added a wideband O2 sensor kit that'll actually do closed loop control a lot faster than the standard ECU will do it. So that's all installed as well. We've put a coolant pressure sensor in, which isn't part of the factory system. And this is not a new practice or something that's, you know, super special that ASG does that no one else does. Lots of people do this. And the reason for doing this is we log the coolant pressure. So we can see whether the engine's got a problem with lifting the head, a blown head gasket, issues within the cooling system that aren't working and stuff like that. Those pressures and when those pressure spikes happen tell us a lot as tuners. So we can now, with the Haltech ECU, we can set up things to do that help protect the engine if it does blow a head gasket. So they're really important as well. The other thing we've set up is really good idle control through the Haltech, which does a great job of controlling the idle over the stock ECU, because the standard ECU doesn't allow you to calibrate the throttle position. So we can now actually crack the throttle open rather than drilling 6 or 7 mil holes in throttle bodies, so that we can get the car to idle properly and run like a factory car. Naturally, the stock ECU has an oil pressure sensor. We've got an oil pressure sensor in here as well, so that we can actually log the oil pressure, but we've also got engine protection set up on the oil pressure as well, which we can do a lot more with that engine protection over a whole heap of different axes, so that we can maintain you know, information coming into the ECU, and if there's something wrong, we tell the engine to rev limit or switch off, or, you know, as a tuner, however we would like to set that up. So these things are really important. The fuel pressure side of things, as I mentioned before, is extremely important as well. So one of the things that we've done with this car, and the car's already been on the dyno, and we've run it up the way that the customer bought it to us without changing anything other than putting the Haltech in place. So one of the things that was noticeable immediately was on the first pull on 13 pounds of boost, E85 tune, we got to about 5,500 RPMs, and the ECU said, no thank you, there's a problem. Went into engine protection. Once we got off the run, we logged it, we looked back at it, we're losing fuel pressure. So we've come back now and we've evaluated the fuel system better, and as much as the system apparently should flow enough to make the power that this car needs, it just doesn't. It doesn't keep up. So I'll show you now what we've had to do. So here you will see the existing fuel system that was in this car, which we've removed. Now, this is an added expense to the customer for us to change the fuel system around. So this had a pair of fuel labs with a lift pump, you know, like a Holley Volumax lift pump, filling the surge and all the rest of it. So this is how it was all set up when the car came to us. We've removed all of this. These two fuel pumps will not flow enough fuel. So we're not talking about pressure, we're talking about flow here. And flow and pressure are completely two different things, and that's a whole nother topic. But this system does not keep up on E85 for this engine at 13 pounds of boost. Surprising to some, and even to the customer, and you can't see fuel pressure issues, fuel pressure related issues, because you can't log anything like that through the stock ECU, then you don't know. So this car did a pass at 145 mile an hour, and the fuel pressure probably dropped somewhere around 30 to about 30 psi. That's not enough fuel pressure to keep the engine alive, and the tune that was in it on the stock ECU wouldn't have been able to react fast enough to add injector duty cycle to pick up the air fuel ratio difference and the losses. So essentially it could have been catastrophic failure of this engine. So we've now removed all of this, completely changed the fuel system around. We've installed an Aeromotive belt drive pump system on here. So we've got a 12 gallon per minute fuel pump on here now mounted in the air conditioning bracket location off billet brackets, and we've completely rerun that whole fuel system now. Now that's a fuel system that we know works with this package. We've used it before in the past. And today we're just going to run the car up on the dyno. We'll show you the car run up on the dyno, and we'll show you some fuel pressure and stuff now as to the big difference at 13 pounds with the belt drive pump, but I'm certain that the fuel pressure will be up around 90 pounds now where it should be. So, you know, the beauty of the Haltech system was it saved this engine. So we hear a lot of people talking about, you know, different ECUs doing different functions. There's a broad spectrum of ECUs on the market now, aftermarket, that do a lot of good functionality. The important thing that you need to understand with your selection of ECU is that it needs to be suitable to the tuner and the person that you use, because they use that system all the time, so they have a lot of experience with it. We use Haltech a lot and Motec. They're the two systems we use predominantly. But other ECUs will do similar things. You need to look deep into it and see what sort of hertz and frequency they operate at, what speed they can react at, how fast they can receive the information, how fast they can send it out, and whether you're getting the right amount of value for your money out of that package. I'll pop around into the car and I'm just going to show you some of the stuff we've set up inside the car before we make a run on the dyno. Alright guys, so here we are in the cockpit, or the cabin of the car. So we just want to show you what we've done on this vehicle. We've installed a Haltech IQ3 Street Series dash for the customer, so they can see what's going on. Indicators, high beams, shift lights, everything's incorporated into that dash. There's a multitude of dashes that we can run with the Haltech ECU, so that's not an issue, that's all personal choice. But the important things are here, we've added a pair of buttons here for the trans brake and the bump or creep button for going racing. We have a line lock button for the customer to do his burnout, so he can do his line lock. And down here, one of the things that is really crucial to making a car run fast on radials at the track, and that's a dual solenoid CO2 boost control system with 12 different levels of boost control mapped here by us as the tuners, so that we can give the customer 12 different options to suit 12 different track conditions. So if for some reason we're not there to give track support, which we are most of the time, but if we're not, he has 12 options to choose from to suit the conditions of the day. So these are the important factors that you need to know about with the racing side of things, and with a decent fast street car, this stuff's important. So get on board and get onto our website, and let's do some Haltech stuff with you guys when you're ready.